Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sharp Edge News TV. Good to see you again. Yes, let's get down to the business. The ADC versus INEC Flashpoint, a surge of 50,000 members in a day, a court-ordered leadership freeze, and a party that says the script is being written in Aso Rock. The battle for 2027 has officially moved from the streets to the legal trenches. Today, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, issued a blistering statement accusing INEC of misinterpreting a Court of Appeal order to derecognize their national leadership. This comes as the ADC claims it is recording over 50,000 new members every 24 hours, following the high-profile entry of Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi into the coalition. The party's spokesperson, Dr. Babatunde Oke, didn't hold back today. He claims INEC is playing a script for an administration that is allergic to strong opposition. We've seen the APC use the courts before. Is this a genuine legal dispute? Or is the government trying to decapitate the ADC before the 2027 mega party can even get off the ground? We're going to get into this analysis as a matter of fact. Anyway, let's wait a bit. Again, everybody, welcome back. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We'll be right back. Chief, welcome back to the show. The question again is, we've seen the APC use the courts before. Earlier today, I was hearing a conversation on TikTok, and there was a news. I'm not sure. Maybe I don't know if you caught this news, but apparently the INEC chairman is being accused of being a member of APC because there were recent statements or recent tweets that he tweeted in favor of APC, and he's been running eta all day trying to get them deleted. But that's some of the rumors on TikTok earlier on today. But again, we've seen the APC use the courts before. Is this a genuine legal dispute, or is the government trying to decapitate the ADC before the 2027 mega party can even get off the ground? The Sharp Edge analysis is yours. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Good to be back after this break in the last fortnight. Yes, you asked if this is a usual legal pattern by APC. This is not by APC, by the way. It's ADC, the African Democratic Congress, trying to assert itself as the emerging opposition rallying point politically in Nigeria. And let me line it up for all of us so that we can have a simple understanding of the way things are beginning to pan out, and which seems to give a credence to what would now look like genuine concern on the part of the coalition that has been led by political heavyweights like former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former Minister of Defense and two-time Governor of Kano State, Dr. Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, former presidential candidate of a Labour Party and two-time Governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi, and lots of consequential political actors and gladiators in Nigeria from the length and breadth of the country, from the desert to the coast, is the party that everybody is talking of now. And you mentioned something in the intro, 50,000 people joining the party in one day. Yes, that is where the wave is headed. The rippling effect of state capture, whether in terms of the executive arm, the legislative arm, and the judiciary. So the people at the end of the day would pitch their tent with whoever they think is telling the truth, whoever they think has a more compelling narrative concerning the unfolding events in Nigeria. But let me quickly point out that what is happening now, the tendency to want to pivot towards a one-party control system in Nigeria is unprecedented. And if anybody is thinking that the administration is paranoid, yes, that fear is genuine and well grounded, because the same party that rode on the crest of evil and outright extreme propaganda to displace a sitting administration, and that administration led by Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan then did not hesitate, knowing fully well that if it would hang on to power a day longer than necessary, if it would encourage a long-drawn legal challenge to the victory secured then by Muhammadu Buhari and its political party, that the country may, no doubt, find itself in endless cycle or spiral of violence and what have you. And that looked like the option that All Progressives Congress, APC then, was working on. That looked like a well-scripted option for them. So for the same administration now, or the same party, to be confronted with the possibility of a tsunami arrangement that could sweep a new opposition party into power, and then trying to stonewall the entire developing situation. Yeah, it gives room for anybody to say that, oh, there is the unseen end of the All Progressives Congress in all this. However, one thing that continues to bother competent, or let's say a lot of competent observers of the situation in Nigeria, because we cannot pretend to know. We are just building a thesis of not knowing what the dynamics are. Even if it is so obvious to us, let us allow the different actors to either side, whether the protagonist or the antagonist, let them chew themselves out and let them provide the proof that they really mean well. Their intentions for the Nigerian Federation, the Nigerian project, the democratic option to governance instead of authoritarianism and the one-man rule, they have to prove themselves out. But it would look like, from what has lined up now, I mean, the progressive arm of the People's Democratic Party, that is those who felt like nobody could carry on with an attitude of impunity, no single man could bifurcate structures within the People's Democratic Party. That is, people who, had signed up for the Turaki-led arm of the party, and those who said, oh, it's just a Wike. By the way, all of a sudden, they woke up from nowhere. The media also participated in the unholy coronation of Wike as the so-called national leader of People's Democratic Party of Nigeria, PDP. Where did that come from? And the man was windsurfing in the euphoria of that moment, accepting himself to be titled, to be given the crown of the national leader of People's Democratic Party of Nigeria. when that was going on, there was no excitement on the part of the Independent National Electoral Commission or the Nigerian legal system to recognize the Turaki-led faction. But the moment they perfected their magical abracadabra with the legal system, all of a sudden, it's almost like, oh, everybody should now move and kiss the, what's it called? The imperial leadership ring of Wike. The same thing had happened, remember, when Mr. Peter Obi was in the Labour Party. They made the place ungovernable for him. All kinds of people, including Apampa, and all kinds of, they came up, they resisted him. The moment he pulled out of that party, everything lined up perfectly. It happened with the party led by Omoyele Sowore, AAC, African Action Congress, or yeah, that is the title. I mean, the name of the political party led by Omoyele Sowore. I mean, people came from nowhere. They didn't see this hardworking news publisher, cum political activist, doing painstaking job of fundraising, of putting structures in place, of organizing from the grassroots. As soon as the party took shape, they sent these elements there. So today, easily, the ruling APC was given access to the use of Eagle Square in Abuja, an iconic structure. I mean, some of us can tell the story of how Eagle Square was built, what it symbolized when Nigeria was beginning to prepare for democratic civilian administration. And they were given unfettered access. They used Eagle Square. The wicked-legged renegade arm of PDP had its own convention at Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola Stadium in Abuja. There was no effort at stopping them. And by the way, that such a wishy-washy kangaroo thing could take place at Moshood Kashimawo Abiola Stadium in Abuja was a huge dishonor and disrespect to the memory of that symbol of Nigeria's democracy, you know. But it took up, I mean, it took place there. Now, ADC, the behemoth opposition movement that they dread, is supposed to be having its own convention at a given venue in Abuja come 15 March. That will be on Wednesday. They are being stopped. Isn't it obvious? And then two people are at the they are at loggerheads, and a court gave a judgment that they should return to status quo antebellum, and that has become a trending word. Remember when the word interim, when another word impasse was trending during the June 12 crisis in Nigeria? Here we are now. Status quo antebellum is the trending new dictum in Nigeria, and INEC was quick to jump on the scene. Now, talking about Professor Amupiton, that name in itself has some Yoruba paradoxical undertone. May God not make us somebody that will become footnote to history. That literally is the translation of Amupiton. And if this guy doesn't want to answer to that, he must begin to understand that Nigerians are not dummy. Nigerians are not people that you can just take for granted or taken for a ride just because you think you occupy some privileged position. Nobody has concluded, Ola, yet that Amupiton operated what has now been detected as Twitter handle that was used at the time to hail and sheepishly express hope that the ruling party, or that Tinubu, because of what one youth leader in that political organization, one Israel, whatever, what he tweeted and Amukiton allegedly responded to at a given point in time. That's what is playing out. But everybody, including IT experts like you, cyber security experts, they are comparing between the timeline, the IP address for wherever that thing originated from. And that is why Amukiton is having this blowback that he should resign, apart from the fact that he jumped into the fray defending the position of APC that ADC should be undermined and made without a leader, even as the timeline for concluding arrangements for 2027 presidential polls approaches fast. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that analysis. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Right now, we're going to talk about Trump, the citizen war, the citizenship war, and the SCOTUS defiance. So again, hit the like button, share, subscribe, join the conversations in the comment section, and we'll be right back.
Ola, are you there? I can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
So sorry about that. I was muted. I started already, but we're going to start all over again. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. Trump, the citizenship war, and the SCOTUS defiance. The 14th Amendment is on the table. Trump says no citizenship for illegal births, and he doesn't care what the Supreme Court says. President Trump is officially in a standoff with the U.S. Supreme Court over the very definition of American identity. Oral arguments concluded this weekend in the landmark case to end birthright citizenship, and the signals from the bench are mixed. Trump took to social media today to warn the justices that if they don't protect the border, he has the absolute right to act through executive authority regardless of their ruling. This follows his administration record-breaking 540,000 deportation this year alone. I'm hearing some kind of noise from your end. Is that normal? Rainstorm outside. Okay. Just making sure. Okay, good. This follows his administration record-breaking 540,000 deportation this year alone. We have a president telling his own conservative majority court that their opinion might be optional. Okay, process that. Is this the end of checks and balances in America, or is Trump simply doing what he was selected to do? The sharp edge is yours.
Thank you very much. My first reaction is that, yes, under Donald Trump, it's not the end. It's continuation of the the uncontrollable presidency that does not recognize various amendments or checks inbuilt within the presidential system that we operate, or the Republican status of the United States of America. no restraint whatsoever, no respect whatsoever when it comes to constitutional um, barriers. And let me say, without gloating or windsurfing on the consequences that the Supreme Court justices in America are suffering, but they brought this upon themselves. This is what they brought upon themselves. The moment when they made, that worrying pronouncement that, oh, it could not be challenged in office and that certain things could be done. The Supreme Court acting as lapdog to Donald Trump's runaway 2025 project, something that was tabled before American people, which Donald Trump denied with the enterprise people with whom those things were fashioned out. And the Supreme Court gave him a blank check on how to rule, to lead, without forgetting the fact that if tomorrow comes and an equally unrestrained individual from the Democratic Party or from any political platform, whatever, rises upon the scene, they could become victims. They were not having an all-angle view of whatever they were ruling on, apart from the fact that that in itself put to shame whatever the concerns of the founding fathers of our great country, United States of America, whatever their concerns were in making sure that the system was not given to the whims and caprice of just one ambitious individual. So they destroyed the inbuilt cleansing mechanism that will restrain any wannabe dictator or authoritarian. So if today Mr. Donald J. Trump is saying, regardless of whatever the Supreme Court justices pronounce, not minding whatever interpretation they are giving to that amendment on citizenship in America, it's what they call for. However, what's the position of the law? Maybe you should begin to know now that Grandpa needs to be relieved of some of the burdens he has imposed on himself. He has a way of bringing up all kinds of theatrics just to make sure that he enjoys the entire focus in any national discourse or given all the attention in the room. And life does not play out like that. For example, earlier this morning, he had given that instruction that, discussions, negotiations had failed in Islamabad. Remember the negotiating team that was led by Vice President Vance to see what could thaw in the frosty relationship with Iran. They couldn't put through. Instead, in spite of the braggings about, he is a master deal maker. This is a deal that could not put through. And who were the elements that went for the negotiations? The whole American vice president was there, no equal from Iranian side. Anyway, the talks broke down, and now it says the Strait of Hormuz is going to be having unprecedented blockade, and that Iran could not be allowed to, continue to enjoy charging of tolls and ripping off the entire system. That is Donald Trump for you. So here again, he goes, diverting attention from the burning issues of our time. The baseless war with Iran, unprecedented economic quagmire all over the world, arising from the needless war with Iran. And now, all that going, this discussion about citizenship, he says it's illegality. But what does the Constitution say? And then why try to jump ahead of the ruling of the Supreme Court? Nobody has ever gone that route in this country. No past president has ever done it, to act in a way that is subjudiced. Yeah, people can brag, oh, record number of 540,000 deportations. Good. After that, so what? So what? You have done what the law says you cannot do. You have, I mean, do you know how much some of these deported aliens, how much they contribute to the American economy? I think an expert put it at something close to $24 billion a year. And you see the way it is all affecting it. Something is snapping in the chain of the way Americans used to operate. This country is a nation of immigrants, but somebody is saying, oh no, we can't stand immigrants. So who are we going to stand? Let's see his option. Let us, he has, proposed a thesis. We do not know what antithesis could come from this, but let us, deal with it. But so far, I don't think that is an experience that anybody is enjoying. So if the Constitution says, this is the spirit and the letter of what the founding fathers intended, and then you are given a narrow interpretation, a very personal and subjective interpretation of that, we won't blame him too much. The Supreme Court justices created this, and they are dealing with it. For example, we're talking of Supreme Court justices here. Excuse me? How can they make pronouncements? How can they give rulings? A president would say, oh, it does not matter. I'll do what I just want to do. And since he knows that that same Supreme Court had said he could not be prosecuted for breaches perpetrated while in office because of an earlier ruling. And a ruling that is secured very early in the life of this second term that is in. So he does whatever he wants. However, after a long darkness, long night, comes a glorious dawn. This also shall pass, and the Americans would be able to enjoy the liberties that they have always been used to. But as it is now, the electorate, the voters in America will have to decide, and that is what played out in Hungary earlier in the day, or this weekend. The man, Victor, whatever, that was the president there, who'd been in system, who had been leading that country like forever, wanted another time. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance went there to endorse him, just like Vladimir Putin of Russia did. At the end of the day, the people spoke loudly with their votes. That man has been voted down, and he has considered that he lost the election. Even before things went too far, he saw the signs and he has volunteered to step down. Now, that is what will happen in the days ahead in America, and the signs are obvious. They are clear. I don't think people will be so lethargic. I do not think people will be so apathetic to the extent that they would not come out to be heard and be heard loudly this time around, that they in no way endorse any of this reckless behavior, disobedience to civil rule and rule of law and what have you. And all that will be accounted for when the votes are cast during the midterm elections, and then ultimately when his term runs out. But I think the race now is for him to make sure that everything is stonewalled, and that the majority will not go to the opposition party such that they will not impeach him or remove him from office. We will continue to watch, but ultimately the Constitution will prevail. That is it.
All right. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, join the conversation in the comment section. Please hit like, share, subscribe, and follow. Let's turn on your notification. Again, join the conversation. Right now, we're going to get into some more Nigerian politics. We're going to talk about the APC Consensus Convention aftermath. Stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So let's talk about the APC Consensus Convention aftermath. A 73-member committee, unanimous mandate, and the coronation of the 2027 machinery. The APC has finished its housekeeping, while the ADC is fighting for its life in court. The All Progressive Congress, APC, has just finalized its internal reset, following the national convention chaired by Governor Hope Uzodinma. The party has formally inaugurated its new National Working Committee today. Despite grumbles of imposition, the party adopted a total consensus model to clear out any internal friction ahead of the 2027 primaries. The Minister of Information, Mohammed Idris, hailed it as a milestone of unity, but critics are asking if consensus is just another word for no room for dissent. Like what we are by that. The APC has its 2027 engine running. And
that's really funny.
the APC has its 2027 engine running, and Uzodinma is in the driver's seat. Is this a sign of a party that is unbeatable, or are the cracks just being covered up with the very expensive coat of paint? The sharp edge analysis is yours, sir.
You bet, Ola. You have said it. The passion of things, and let me paraphrase that. Let me capture that in the words of a well-known Nigerian juju musician, Admiral Dele Abiodun, the Adawa King. It's called. Let me first say it in English, and then let's see if we can capture it in essence. That their end is perched on the line, that is on the rope. The rope is not finding it easy, and the hand is not at rest either. Yes, whatever this is meant to be. If you need to deconstruct whatever they are doing with the person identity of Hope Uzodinma himself. Hope Uzodinma, yeah, remember he was the person that was imposed, that was given victory by the court in Imo State, even when he was not originally close on the ballot. I think it was number 3 or 4 in the original ballot, but because of the state capture that was unfolding then, the court ruled that he was the legitimate winner because of certain indices of lacking democratic norms within the processes that led to the gubernatorial election in that state that year. And the alternative to him was going to be the son-in-law of the outgoing governor that was going to be imposed on the state. All kinds of drama in Imo State in those days. And so the same man who has benefited through some controversial court award system, who has become the governor, has also been primed as the chairman of the APC Governors Forum. So he has also been so handy and useful most times to see the president waved goodbye while flying out of Nigeria, and then always the number one to come and welcome him at the airport. So these are the undertones to whatever people are pointing out in the piece that you have just read, that, oh, he is the one midwifing the so-called consensus candidature within the ruling APC. But what is consensus? I think we can take it in the context of what had been debated over time, ages gone by, whether Socrates, the student Aristotle, and later by Plato. This shamefully shuts out the common folks in Nigeria who should have been part of the processes of selecting or electing whoever will be the standard bearer for any political party. And in this particular case, the APC. The people are not part of the process of choosing their standard bearer. So some people, privileged governors, and all kinds of questionable characters that are not even really known to the people at the grassroots, will now sit down in the thick of the night, and then, whether in broad daylight as well, and say, oh, this is the person by way of consensus that we have agreed to be our standard bearer. And it looks more attractive to me what we do in the United States here, leading to the selection of candidates for political parties. I mean, the primaries are always very open, and you can see the figures coming out in millions. Even if America does not have that option, let me tell you, Nigeria, that pretends to always be the giant of Africa, if not the giant in Africa, should have perfected a more robust and acceptable, representative, and proportional system that would reflect the will of the majority of the people as a starting point. But by way of consensus, who is conceding what to who? And where are they having that convergence of feelings, opinions, and thoughts to know that, oh, this is the person that is best suited? So what we are witnessing in real time, which is a phrase Nigerians don't love to allude to because of the way they were shortchanged with the electronic reportage of results at elections that was shut down by the National Assembly. So, all said and done, Ola, the truth of the matter is that I suspect at some point there could be a consequential implosion within the ruling party, APC. There could be a consequential, we are under weather alert. Are you there? Hello?
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you, sir.
Yeah, you can hear the public alarm system going off because of the
No, I can't. I can't actually. So go ahead.
But yeah. So the I mean, all said and done, I can envisage a situation in which at some point there could be some form of implosion within the ruling party. And so another proverb from Africa to Kadesh, particularly from the Yoruba nation of close to 65 million people. Whoever is being chased by the masquerade to continue to endure, as the person that is being chased is experiencing fatigue, so also is the masquerade getting tired. So if the ruling party, the sitting party in Nigeria, is tormenting the opposition uh, parties or camps, the opposition camps should continue to hold on, should continue to keep faith, should keep the struggle on, because APC itself is going to be tied down, is going to be bogged down. He is going to get tired of some of these antics they are dishing out. You know, as Accra people would say, when you begin to cheat, you are going to break any garden. You will break it up. In fact, you are going to annihilate any such good project. So they have had their turn. They're still enjoying it, and nobody is chasing them away. They should just make the space to be more open, free, and fair, and that people should be able to associate the way they want. Because already the storm is gathering for Nigeria. If the process is seen as being unfair, they should not think that they can do it the way Donald Trump would do it in America and get away with it. Sanctions will begin to tumble and fall over each other. And I do not think that Tinubu will want to have a second time thinking that, oh, the world does not care. The world cares. The world cares. Already, whatever is going on with the insurgency in Nigeria, by the way, on Sunday, another consequential top military officer was killed through improvised explosive device by the satanic terrorists that have kept Nigeria under siege, that have placed Nigeria under siege for years now. Last week, a general, a brigadier general, one-star general, was killed. Earlier in the year, it also happened. What is going on? So, if this party, the ruling party in Nigeria, is so, has so much dexterity and is so much endowed with strategy and tactics, why are we not seeing that in the way they are going after the insurgents? You even see an underage child, 15 years old, that was caught saying, confessing to the way they are being recruited to everything that is going on. And APC is not preoccupied with stopping the killings of Nigerians in thousands. Earlier today, we were told by the senator from Borno State that over 500 people or 400 people from a given village are in captivity. How were they moved into captivity? That block of people. And now we have such issues of pressing urgency that should be tackled. What we are doing is to make sure that we suppress votes, we discourage people from participating in a popular contestation as to who will lead them. And people are dying in huge numbers. I think that should be where President Bola Tinubu should prove the fact that, he is the genius that they hail him to be. But to continue to want to make it unattractive for opposition people to contest the ticket with him, I think that's a very tall order. And with this said, it will appear that Nigeria is fast raising towards some seismic political situation, namely, possibly revolution. They don't want to hear that word, but that is where Nigeria is headed, because when you don't allow people to express themselves freely through the ballot, you give them no option. It's in the character of human beings. Freedom is sweet, and that is what they will fight to keep. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor, hit the like button, Share, subscribe, turn up your notifications. Shout out to Ego Ventures. Says, well done, Chief. Helen from Abuja. Shout out to Helen from Abuja. All right, so join the conversation, join the comment section. Let's know what your thoughts are. Let's get your opinions. Coming up is today's special, and stay tuned.
Sleep in peace and rest.
20 years ago, on April 13, 2006, a great light dimmed and Usho Kingdom lost a noble son. Today marks 20 years since the passing of Chief Oladipo Abitogun, the Elemogudi of Usho Kingdom. A man of honor, he was a respected family man, a voice of wisdom, a pillar of strength in the community, and a devoted father whose love knew no bounds. 20 years on, you are deeply missed by your children, who remember your care, protection, and sacrifices, who cherish your counsel and uphold the values you live by. Though time has passed, your legacy remains unshaken. Your name still commands respect, and your footsteps will guide generations. As your children, families mark this 20th remembrance, we honor a fulfilled life and a legacy that death could not erase. Chief Oladipo Abitogun Kareo Omota Paramuda Omalalabiowa. As the years roll by and generations rise, your name continue to speak for righteousness. May your life remain a lesson in service, and may your memory forever be a source of strength to all hear your name and walk your path. Announcer, the children.
All right, let's get into this. 20 years has passed since the passing of the great uncle of the Abitogun dynasty. I know you have a lot to say on this. I'm going to have you take the charge. Showing on the screen, by the way, is a picture of High Chief Oladipo Ojo Abitogun, who passed on back in 2006. But go ahead and take it away, sir.
Oh, thank you so much, Ola. And we would, instead of continuing to mourn him and the 4 others who died in that unfortunate carnage, the road wreck on that unfortunate eve of Good Friday, April 13th, 2006, we will choose to celebrate him, to continue to cherish his vision, his passion, and his legacies. He was my brother. He was my elder by 27 solid years. But because of the way we were raised in our family, he was daddy to all of us. And we want to thank his children for allowing us to share that honor of seeing him as our dad. Because if somebody was my elder by 27 years, his first child, his first son, was much older than me by 4 years. The second child, the daughter, my contemporary, but older than me by 10 days. So naturally, I saw him as dad. But not just that. The way he was raised, the circumstance of his birth, he was born at the old maternity that used to be called OK in Akure in those days, at the old maternity at Okeda in Akure. But a child of the basins of Ogbese River, native of Usho, because of where our father hailed from. But he grew up traversing the plains of Usho, Ayede Ogbese, Obaile, Akure, Ikole Ekiti, so many places. For us, it was the unequaled pathfinder. The second child of my father was, people talk of a multi-generational consciousness in a family. That is the family into which we're born. Whether you're talking of our side, to the Ojomoluda royal household in Owo, or you're talking of us establishing and securing our place in Usho as the descendants of Elemogbodi, coming from Eleorokun, Ajila, and all of them. My brother was raised with that kind of consciousness. And education was at various stages. St. Andrew's Primary School, Anglican Primary School, Usho. Later, Imade College, where he had the unique opportunity alongside others in his generation of being under the tutelage of late Chief Michael Adekunle Ajashin as their school principal. And from there, he went to Molusi College, Ijebu Igbo, for his higher school certificate, advanced level. And from there, he also attended the then School of Agriculture, Akure, where he had an ordinary diploma in agriculture. So he just wasn't an intellectual. He was not just eminently educated, attending Bishop's College in Dallas, where he graduated summa cum laude, studying English language and political science. And his master's was later at North Texas State University in Texas as well. And he did, I think, public affairs or something like that. I will remember. But he was a man of many parts: poet, traditionalist, and a Christian. Initially, while in the United States, it was during the years of civil rights consciousness and marches, and he experienced his own culture shock, and then he had his Christian faith challenged. But before he left this world, he had embraced his faith back, a solid man of Anglican convictions. Now, concerning the kind of man he was, a thoroughbred administrator who rose through the ranks. At some point, he also loved journalism, but he moved quickly from that, being a teacher at commercial secondary school, Akure, when he first arrived in Nigeria in 1975. And then he moved again to rising through the ranks as somebody who was well grounded in public affairs and administration. At some point, he was under secretary with Code of Conduct Bureau. At some other point, he was director this, director that. But let me give you one solid example, Ola, where Chief Abitogun really proved that if he had not been a civil servant, he would have progressed in the HIC or the consciousness of somebody like Gani Fawemi, Femi Falana and co. He stood for the rights of so many people and he shunned corruption. So many people will look at him and they describe him as Abijah and they'll say this and that. But he wasn't fighting for selfish interest. He loved to protect the interests of people. When he was seconded or when he was posted to Ondo State Pensions Board, he saw what was going on there, the graveyard for the entitlements and benefits for contemporary civil servants. He decided to flip the whole thing over. He attracted so many enemies. They told lies against him with the then military governor in the state, and they placed him on suspension. Ultimately, they find out that this man was blameless, that he actually should be celebrated, which is why when people say a huge loss to Usho Kingdom, or what have you, no, I don't share such sentiment. It was a big loss to Nigeria, to Africa, Ondo State in particular. Now, that same day, remember our cousin and my personal friend, Dr. Abitogun, died alongside with him in the car wreck. His two grandchildren, the children of Brawale, his first son, died in the same accident. Then his driver, But let me tell you one thing. Chief Abitogun was clairvoyant. He had a strong foreboding that he could die that day. I mean, Doctor and I spoke till the very, not the last minute, but very early hours of that day. I woke up in the United States. I placed the call to him, and Chief Abitogun, to be my big mentor. I was asking Doctor, no, you people said you're leaving for Akure for Easter celebrations today. What is keeping you? Oh, he said, of course, you know your brother. You know our brother now, the way it is. Everybody is still appealing to him now. He said he would not allow the driver to drive him. I said, why? He said, because our brother, Chief Abitogun, had said that driver was behaving in a funny way, driving like he was commissioned to come and annihilate him, to kill him.
Wow.
And I would not allow him to drive him. And then that people were still prevailing on him. They were still begging him. That was the last discussion I had with Dotun that day. I, with my then wife, headed for Joplin in the state of Missouri to attend to some things. By the time we came back, the sad news had broke that they all had died in that unfortunate car wreck. And typically, if you are going to begin to look at the condition of the human, I mean, if you're going to assess the human condition in Nigeria, what speed would make somebody to go under a stationed, articulated truck? The point at which Okegele Junction, the junction to Babaye Bell's area in Usho, on the highway to the Usho Grammar School major turn into Usho. That's less than a minute stop. What kind of speed would make a man to run into a puddle of water that covered the whole windscreen and that got him under that vehicle? Now, that is one situation there. My brother also did so much in fighting corruption in Nigeria. He would be paying, there were times on motion, he would stop to challenge the way Nigerian police and what have you were extorting road users and drivers, and it would be apparent that, oh, as somebody that was working, or that was a federal commissioner with the Revenue Mobilization and the Fiscal Allocation Commission in Abuja, RAMFAC, that he was sacrificing alongside others to make sure that the police was well taken care of. Yet you are still on the highway extorting money from people. That was Chief Abitogun for you. And one particular incident, he was well connected. Some people in our family would not even know how accommodating my big brother was. They are as big as he was as an accomplished administrator who rose through the ranks to become a permanent secretary in the Ondo State Civil Service, and another big man appointed by President Olusegun Obasanjo as a federal commissioner. There were times my brother would come around to pick me in the house in Abuja. Let us have a ride together. And he would say in Yoruba, you must know where I go. And then we'll ride together. But some people will say, oh, it's love-hate relationship between him and me. No. I love my brother like heck. And he himself used to appreciate my courage and boldness concerning some things. But to want to be in competition with him, no, that's a very tall order. A very tall order. And I know he loved me. For example, when I was hot in the line of practice as a journalist in Nigeria, and I was being treated at Federal Medical Center in Owo, I had so much money on me, but my brother would not let me spend my money. He got to the hospital management there and said, this is somebody I was concerned for, who had just retired as, what's it called, as permanent secretary, as a civil servant. Where would he get the money? He immediately made a deposit of 20,000 naira, instructing, like the Good Samaritan instructed that the victim between Jericho and Jerusalem should be treated and everything should be built to him. That's my brother. And when it was time for me to leave the hospital, he came majestically with his you know, how prestigious it was to own a Mercedes-Benz E-Class in those days, V-Boot. That was what he brought to take me from the hospital, and I was installed in his house. He and his wife took care of me. And from the first wife, Mommy Victoria Abitogun, and to Kabiyesi, the former regent of Emurele, Auntie Lizzie, none of them did not, all of them they always embraced me, which is a remarkable statement on the way our brother wanted us to be treated. And then my brother had a good friend, Chief Akinluyi, the owner of Humanitex. You remember when, what was it called? Shell was dragged before the International Court for violations in Ogoni Line. The man who came before the international community to say that he was the arms dealer that was selling whatever to whoever the government was using to suppress the Ogonis. Chief Gibi Akinluyi, a native of Igbaraoke, you know, we would be in their company. So many places my brother would call me. But if he felt like, oh, Dimeji, you should pipe low, or sometimes we just say, Deji, you should pipe low, don't let our stars be on collision course. Some of us, I mean, for example, if there was a public event where he felt I should not mention the name Abitogun, just operate as a journalist, he would caution me, don't let our stars clash. And then we started calling him Irawola, the big star. And then people would jokingly refer to me as the little star. Twinkle was not part of it. But he was such a great person. You could see him in his poems. You could see through him in his efforts at energizing the community. The shoes he left were so big. Anybody who would be able to match his kind of generosity, the way he united all of us, giving us the consciousness that, reminding us of who we are. Many of us did not know that we were princes of Ijebu originally. He did the research, and wherever he is today is a good place. He will continue to rest in the bosom of the Lord whom we serve. And then we remember everybody that died alongside with him, particularly Dotun Abitogun. He had so much laid ahead of him. And thank God our family is united. We continue to. And at this moment, let me urge Oyinlade, his eldest surviving son, to keep the flag aloft, to keep his father's legacy going. Ifejobi, do not get tired, Feyi. You cannot forget the daughter of whom you are. All of you. Olagbemi, Dunjoye, all of you. Buki, Onidamola, all of you. You must remember that you had a great man. And even Fola Baba Ogbese, the man that was fondly called Baba Ogbese, Fola, I mean, all of you, you must continue to keep the old ideas on. And you, Omoboye, Daddy really loved all of you in a special way. For me, sorry, I'm not atomizing in the order of the way you were born, but please, all of you were important to Daddy, and he had wanted that we would remember that we belong to the same fold as a part of the great Abitogun dynasty. We would continue to impact and pass on whatever good we learned from him. That's my brother, and that's what we missed 20 years ago, and we choose to celebrate instead of mourning.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that will be today's show. Do us a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. Rest in peace to Oga James. Good night.